All right, so you're all welcome this session. We are going to look at diagnosing organizations. Diagnosing organizations is very key because it allows us to understand the status or the state a given organization is in. We want to understand the strengths, the weaknesses, and areas of improvement for the organization. Basically, we were evaluating the organization, see where we want to act and improve its general performance. We cannot institute what we call organizational development interventions without understanding the organization. We need to understand the organization, where are the areas that we need to act, and how do we act. So organizational diagnosis is the basis for planning the interventions that we shall have. So if you are going to look at this in a medical perspective, you cannot treat the patient without looking at their history, their medical history, getting information from them, going for what we call the workups, the laboratory, for laboratory tests, and then also going for imaging tests or imaging modalities, going for X-ray, going for MRI. In the medical field, those things or those processes or those tests or those procedures are done in order to understand the patient and know where the disease is coming from. And so basically those imaging processes, laboratory processes, enable us to come up with a medical diagnosis and then treat the condition. So in an organization, we are also interested in understanding where are the problems coming from. Where do we need to improve? Where are we losing the customers? Where are we very inefficient? Where are we not very effective? If you identify those areas, then you can be able to improve the overall organizational performance. So you carry out what you call organizational diagnosis. So the process basically involves you gathering data. You gather data, analyze the data, come up with conclusions, communicate those the findings, and then act on the findings. So basically that's the process. So you have a lot of tools that you can use to gather this data. You can, of course, conduct interviews with people working within the organization. You can conduct interviews with patients who are benefiting from the health facility. You can talk to the managers and all the key stakeholders. But sometimes there are some things that you basically see with your eyes and say, okay, fine, this is not right. Patients waiting for 8 hours to see the clinician is not right. So by observation, you can see certain things. You can see the arrangement of chairs. You can see that the patients are not comfortable. You can see that the temperature is, people are sweating. So you can see a lot of things with your eyes. So you can use observation to get and to understand how the organization is working and operating. And then you can also look at the data, the documents. These documents can come from, they can be company minutes or organizational minutes or meeting minutes. They can come from policies, the procedures, the protocols, the performance evaluation reports. So basically within a health facility, there are a lot of documents that can tell you a lot about the performance of that health facility. You can also do what we call benchmarking, compare the practices of one organization with another, maybe in a similar setting or in a similar industry. It's very good for comparing comparisons or comparing notes, as we usually say. And then also look at what communication channels or networks are existing within the organization, formal or informal. This actually gives you a clue on the communication channels and even how decisions are undertaken within the organization. So you can use all those tools to make those decisions, to collect that kind of data that you want that gives you a comprehensive picture or image or the status or the stage of a given health facility. Now, for you to reach at a point where you say, okay, fine, after all this data, this is the problem, you may need to use a lot of a number of frameworks, models, to be able to narrow, or even tools to be able to narrow this data that this vast data that you have collected into a problem that you can actually work on and improve. So this is basically what you're going to look at, the diagnostic tools and models or frameworks that you can use to help you do that. So the first one is the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, S stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You can use it to assess the standing of an organization. So you look at the strength. So for example, what characteristics does a given facility have over the others? What characteristics make it more competitive over the other? Or what characteristics does the given health facility have that make it more competitive compared to the other? Those are the strengths that you look at. Maybe they have good equipment, they are the ones who only with the particular equipment, they have qualified staff, their processes are quick, you don't have a lot of waiting time and things like that. You look at those factors. And then the weaknesses. What factors place a given health facility into a disadvantage, okay, in terms of competition? Could it be that the facility is not organized, it's not clean, the staff are rude? Okay, what are the weaknesses within the organization? So the strength and the weaknesses are actually within the organization. They're internal. But then you can also look at the external environment. Look at the threats that are posed, what factors or what things are happening outside the environment that will negatively impact on the business. Or look at the opportunities. What opportunities are out there that the business or the health facility can actually take advantage of? Those are the opportunities. So you need to look at all these factors and then weigh and understand where the organization actually stands. That is very important. Then you can also use what we call the PESTLE model. Basically, with this, you want to understand the external environment and how it impacts on the healthcare organization. Okay, you want to see, critically look at all the various factors that can influence the conduct of business within the healthcare industry for a particular hospital. So the P stands for political, the E stands for economics, the S is sociocultural, the T is technological, then you have the L, which is legal, and then you have the E for environmental. So you need to look at all these factors and how they influence a given healthcare organization. Then we also have the 7S model. The 7S model helps you to look at the organization in terms of the 7S. That is the strategy, the structure, the systems, the skills, staff, style, and shared values. Okay, these are the 7 S's that we have. So it's the 7S model that helps you to visualize a given organization in those aspects. So you go and say, what is its structure? What is its strategy? What skill sets do the staff have? What staffs do they actually have? The style, delivery of services, the systems, and shared values. And then we have what we call the force field analysis. The force field analysis. It's to say that in a given status, given state that you're in, there are always factors that promote change, and there are also factors that prohibit or they are what we call restraining forces. So you can come to an equilibrium where you have the forces on either side actually being equal, and then you don't have any change. But if you have one side overpowering the other, then you will create a change. So it is very important that organizations actually focus on overcoming resistance to change. Changes are very important, especially in the healthcare industry. A lot of things are actually happening. There are technology, economy, political regulations, and a lot of things are happening. So these things require change. The staff need to continuously adapt new ways of doing things. So change in healthcare industry is actually inevitable. So we need to have forces that actually drive change. And then the competing values framework, which helps to look at the organizational culture. Organizations have their way of doing things, their non-values are maybe beliefs. Okay, so with this framework, you have 4 quadrants: the plan, and then you have the hypocrisy, and then you have the market, and then hierarchy. Those are the 4 quadrants. But the 4 quadrants actually they reflect what is prevailing within a given organization. For example, the quadrant for plan, it represents the behavior of collaborating within an organization. People work together within an organization. And then we have the adequacy. This one is when organizations have people who are actually innovative, creating new things. And then you have the market culture. This is where, or the market quadrant is where competition is the norm within the organization. People are free to compete with one another. And also, actually, the organization is focused on competing with other firms that are producing maybe similar services or products. And then the hierarchy. Within this, the organizations are focused a lot on how you communicate. Channels of communication are very important. So this is basically about controlling. So if you look at an organization, what culture they have? Are they free? Is it a free work environment where you can communicate with whatever channel, where innovation is encouraged, where people can work with any department that they want? That is very important. And then we have what you call the culture web, which is a tool for assessing, again, organizational culture. Remember, the previous one was also about organizational culture. This one is also about organizational culture. So when you talk about organizational culture, you want to understand the culture of an organization. You look at many aspects. You look at how they interact with, how the staff actually interact, their branding story, or what you can call, what is the story for the organization? How did the organization come into existence? This usually has influences on the symbols they use, on the logos they use, on the power structures, and also on the organizational structures, the control systems, the routines, the values that they usually actually have. Okay, so that this tool helps to understand an organization in terms of its cultural beliefs, norms, and other aspects in terms of the symbols or logos, power structures, organizational structures, control systems, and also routines and rituals. You can also do what you call process mapping, which is basically you represent, you have a visual representation of the work processes within an organization. So, for example, if it is a hospital, you look at the lab, the different departments, pediatrics, gynecological ward, or departments, surgical ward, medical ward, and others, and then see how they work together as a system. When you visualize that, you'll be able to identify areas of inefficiencies, bottlenecks, and also areas where you really need to do some improvements. You can also carry out what we call action research. Action research is very, very important. With action research, you actually carry out a collaborative inquiry and identify areas or challenges and how you can actually address these challenges. It promotes what we call organizational learning, change, and improvement. Value stream mapping is also an important tool. Still, this one also helps you in visualizing the materials and information required to deliver a particular product. So if you're producing, let us say you're producing a given, let us say, medical product, okay? What is actually required to produce that medical product? What material are needed? What kind of information or data is needed to produce that product? That visualization still also can help you to understand the areas of inefficiency, areas of improvement, and how you can make, you can streamline the processes and maximize efficiency and reduce wastage. And then we look at organizational network analysis. Still, you look at the communication relations and within an organization, how are decisions made? Who are the key influential people? What are the communication gaps, knowledge sharing, and also collaboration? You can carry out a scorecard. You use what we call a balanced scorecard. This is a tool that can assess an organization's performance across different dimensions. You look at the financial area, assess its performance, the customer, the internal processes, the learning, and then the growth. Look at this and then come up with a comprehensive view of how an organization is performing. So basically, this is the balanced scorecard. You look at every aspect, the customer relations, the financials, the internal processes, and growth, or what you call education and learning, or learning and growth, or education and growth. Okay, then you understand the whole organization based on this scorecard. How is it performing? You can carry out surveys. You can have the employees as interviewee. Then you understand their attitude, perceptions, and satisfaction levels. You can also survey customers. Benchmarking is very key. You can look at what others are doing. You can analyze financial information, maybe from balance sheets and whatever assets and liabilities. You can carry out what we call a gaps analysis. You compare the current state of the organization with what is actually the desired state of the organization. Okay. So you can use data analysis tools or data analytics. If you have a lot of data, it may be very difficult for you to understand the trends, the patterns, and gain insights. So you may use data analytics to help you in that. You can still, apart from interviewing the employee, the customers, you can still interview the stakeholders, the leaders. They can provide you very good information about the organization. So basically, these assessments or these tools can be one that actually provide you, or can be those that actually provide you with comprehensive evaluation of every aspect of the organization. Sometimes you can actually also create scenarios that can help you anticipate the future. You can use what you call the root cause analysis. This will also help you to identify the causes of organizational problems, or the challenges that the organization is facing, where they actually coming from. You can also conduct or use the change readiness assessments to understand how the organization is actually prepared for change and what is its capacity for change, such that when you collect this data, you basically know, okay, fine, if we are going to make changes based on this data, the organization is actually ready to make those changes. So you need to conduct a change readiness assessment to understand the organization's capacity and preparedness to implement some changes that you want to institute. Okay, so you can use questionnaires in your different interviews to gather different data, whether qualitative or quantitative. You can also scan the environment. Scanning the environment basically looks at the tools that we have talked about earlier on. The SWOT analysis can help you in scanning the environment. Other tools that we earlier on mentioned. After collecting all this data, you need to analyze using different tools, Excel and other computer programs. If they are qualitative data, then you need to use what we call thematic analysis, and then come up with conclusions about the organization. So you identify the areas of improvement, areas where improvement needs to be done, and then you communicate to the key stakeholders or the decision makers, such that they actually understand what you have obtained from your surveys. So you report this data, and then they will eventually make decisions. Okay, you, of course, will make recommendations, but the decisions may be dependent on the top management or senior management for a given organization. So that marks the end of this presentation. Basically, in summary, it's very important before you institute any changes to understand the organization comprehensively or holistically, and then identify areas where there is need for improvement, and then institute the interventions to improve the systems, processes, and other procedures. Thank you very much.